Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year. You
Happy
already
New
had Christmas. Y'all had
Year!
Christmas. Uh, all types of stuff done passed. A lot of things is going on. Welcome to another episode of East Meets West, ladies and gentlemen. The Detroit Pistons edition. Yes, this is January 5th, you might as well say, because it's 11:58 on January 4th. This is January 5th, basically morning time. Well, not for Khan, because he's 3 hours back. So you got a little bit, you got a little time to wait. Y'all just
I
8
know.
o'clock out there. But the Pistons played the Minnesota Timberwolves today. And then, in hindsight, we got some things that we might incorporate into the talks. Thank y'all for supporting us. You know what I mean? The YouTube page is back going strong. Make sure y'all follow us. Am I pointing? Yes, I'm pointing the right way. Make sure y'all follow Con. Y'all see the name. Y'all see the names. Yeah. At CP3 underscore 777 at opinionated underscore MJ. Yes. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Con, how have you been, my brother? It's been a minute. It's
I
been a
mean,
minute.
yeah, I know, right? The holidays take place, but
Yeah.
you know, uh, 2025. I don't know. I don't know how if 2024 was good or bad for y'all, but hey, I thought it was okay. Everyone's like, oh, it's time to turn the page. That's great. We are turning the page, and you know who else
Yeah.
is turning the page? The Detroit Pistons,
Troy
right?
Piston.
In
Yeah.
the calendar year, in the 2025 calendar year, the Detroit Pistons are undefeated, right?
Yeah.
And we are at 35 games into the season after tonight's win over the
Hmm.
Minnesota Timberwolves, which puts the Pistons at 17 and 18. 17 and 18, right? Now, just no one's victory lapping or anything like that. We're not patting ourselves on
I,
the
I,
back.
I kind of am.
Okay, all I'm saying is, right, to all the, in my opinion, haters, not
Yeah.
analysts, haters that laughed at the Pistons and said, ha ha ha, they're gonna win less than 20 games again, or they're gonna be lucky to win 24. Hey, obviously we haven't hit 24 yet, but we're looking kind
Right.
of strong. For the
Yeah.
people that thought we were crazy for saying this team could be somewhere in the vicinity of 500, again, we're not. The season's far from over, but it's at least trending in that right direction. And for
Right.
you, MJ, your
Yeah.
personal goal of can this team win 34 or more games? We are very much strong on pace for that as well.
Yes. And I was
Important.
gonna bring that up. Like, people,
Yes.
excuse me for my voice. I don't know
Yeah.
what happened. Some people been sick
But
around me, whatever. I'm not sick, but I wanted to ask you that. Like, do you remember what was the records that we had at this point?
oh,
In
oh,
our in a pod from like the beginning of the season. You know what I mean? And people, if y'all ain't see it, go watch the preseason pod. It's probably one or two of them, probably more, but in there we cover much. You know what I mean, about what we seen prospectively from this Pistons
okay.
team. And because that's something good to call back on at this point. You know what I mean? Like, it's the new year, it's 35 games in, we're pretty much halfway and a little bit, you know, under the halfway point, but we're here. And I also will say that I predicted that because
Okay.
somebody posted the next like Pistons 4 games or something like that. I don't know if it was after the Magic game or before that, but I'm like 4-0. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We will be a 500
So
team.
I did
Yeah,
save that. I did save that. The game to
yeah.
game and month to month breakdown. So you actually I had them at about 15 wins.
Okay.
15
I
wins at the end of December.
and I had them at 21 or something
Right.
crazy.
No, you had them at 16.
Oh, at the
So
end of December,
yeah, looks like we're
we're
right on. We're rolling. We're right where we said we
we're
were.
on
Right.
point.
So
Yeah.
not too bad. Right. We weren't too
We,
crazy.
I mean, we know what
Hindsight.
we're seeing. We're not,
Yeah.
the type of people that are just podcasting from a place of, oh, I just want to talk about basketball. We actually watch basketball. We love basketball. You especially have been a part of basketball because, like, I need to honor you every time.
Yeah.
He's a scout, ladies and gentlemen. Like, respect him. So, and
Basketball junkie.
yeah, basketball junkie, and we have like honest perspectives, you know what I mean, of what we think is the potential and what we see. And
Yeah.
because I wasn't saying it as a Pistons fanatic, because if I was a
No.
Pistons fanatic, I'd say, oh, we're gonna win 15 games and we're gonna get Cooper Flag, and we're already at 16. So you know what I mean. So
17.
17,
17.
correction.
Yes.
So it's just like, Nah, I knew what I was seeing in this team. I knew what I seen from, I don't want to keep on dragging or kicking a dead horse, I should say, but I knew what I was seeing. And it's amazing to see now. But we do have some things that are of concern somewhat, maybe like 10%, like the Ivy injury.
And
You know what I mean? So but it's like then I see Ausar today, and then I know what Ron Holland's capable of, and it's just like, well, can those two combine and make up for him? And they surely can, and they play defense. You know what I mean? I don't mean to segue directly into something, but
Mhm.
like as far as the Ivy thing, I guess we'll harp on Ivy for now. But like I
Yeah.
love what I was seeing from Ivy. Rest up, recover well, 100%, get ready for next season. But um,
Oh,
he was a change of pace for us, in my opinion, from my perspective. And I just think, like, man, I was really impressed with him going forward. Like, the dude just started making threes like crazy out of nowhere. You know what I mean? He what shot 5 3-pointers on the night that he got hurt, and or he made five and
6.
six. And it's just like
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Hold on.
he was massively improving though. He's been improving. And we had a little hiccup earlier in the season where he got hurt, and everybody was like, "Oh, Ivy's out." So how do y'all feel now? Like after we played a game or two, and we're gonna have a different makeup. You know what I mean? Like now we're gonna
Mhm.
have a different makeup. Like we're gonna have a different, but it's fine because like I tweeted today from the Pistons lead account. Y'all make sure y'all follow that too on Twitter. Um, that we have a cadence about us, and it's Cade. Yes, it's Cade. I'm playing on his name, but that's the perfect word. It's
Pun
like
intended.
because
Yes.
yeah, pun intended. Like I look at this team like, oh, Cade is making this pass. And then it set into me when I seen Cade make a pass to Tobias, and Tobias had the same type of pacing with his pass as Cade. And then the ball just the way it moves, you know what I mean? Like it looks very controlled. You know what I mean? And it's like, and when I say controlled, I mean like pace is not rushed, it's not bailout. I mean, the Pistons are still doing that stuff, but when they're flowing, it's just smooth sailing. You know what I mean? It's a cadence, and it's Cade. It's just like when you have a player that comes in, basically is the face of your team. If your team is going to do well, they have to adopt his like image, his style, his, you know what I mean, like all of that. And this roster has been the best that I've seen with him thus far.
The team is definitely built,
Yeah,
around Cade, which is good,
yeah,
as it should be, as it should be. Again, just for all those discussions that took place through the first 3 years of his career,
yeah.
and even just this past summer, like, oh, is Cade a point guard? Is Cade really capable of being the man? Like,
Right.
should we trade Cade? I think if he hasn't already answered those questions, and I don't know, like, you're probably not really watching Detroit Pistons basketball,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with everything you said. But part of that, going about both Cade and kind of taking an overview of Jaden Ivey's season was that, a lot of Ivey's success was very much playing off Cade. And to a certain extent, Cade's success was playing off of Jaden Ivey, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I guess before we begin, just real quick, just to kind of give people perspective. Maybe you've seen it, but just to hear it, to conceptualize it. Jaden Ivey finishes the season 30 games, having played about 30 minutes per game,
Yeah.
at 17.6 points per game, right? With shooting splits of 46 from the floor, 40.9 from three, on
Good Lord.
5.1 attempts per game, right? And 73.3% from the free throw line. Both his field goal percentage and his 3-point percentage and his 3-point attempts were all career highs,
Mhm.
and then 4.1 rebounds and 4 assists per game, which is pretty good. Career high in rebounding, zero point 0.9 steals, zero point 0.4 blocks.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, this is really obviously disappointing. Now, I guess, well, Yes, let's just start with that. The disappointing part. Obviously, it's
Right.
disappointing that he's out for the he's likely out for the remainder of the season. Right?
Yeah.
Let's being conservative.
Right.
Fortunately, you know, it was a clean break, so there's no ligament damage. So,
Okay.
that
Okay.
should not necessarily expedite his healing, but it should make it a more smooth recovery process, you
Right.
know. But it obviously it sucks when anyone gets injured, but in it sucks when anyone gets injured. But in this case,
Right.
the fact that I think we were finally not only was he playing at his best, but he and Cade were
Yes.
really playing at their best to the point where, again, because going back, Cade has his own questions to answer in the offseason or these last couple seasons. But even, amongst Pistons fans and here on this podcast, we asked during the preseason, are they really the best pair for each other? Like, are they really compatible? Or are we trying, is it a square peg in a round hole situation? Are
Right.
we just trying to, force these guys into roles that really don't benefit either? You're just
Right.
kind of doing it out of necessity because they're both highly drafted players.
Right.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it's going to remain a small sample size because Jaden Ivey's out.
Right.
You know, um, which it sucks because I think there was a lot of necessary evaluation to be done. One, just what are the other types of players to surround them to keep
Yeah.
amplifying that duo,
Right.
and obviously the business of basketball, right? Like, are we comfortable giving Jaden Ivey an extension? How much? Things like that. Those things are now going to have to be put on the back burner. Kind of sucks for him, sucks
Right.
for the team,
Right.
you know. Um, but I guess um, in the immediate future, well, we've actually kind of already now we're 2 games into the non-Jaden Ivey portion of this season. So, right, he
Right.
went down against Orlando. They held on to win that game. So
Yeah.
since then, right, they beat Charlotte yesterday. They beat Minnesota today.
Yeah.
Um, the Pistons, right, are well above league average. They're definitely in the top half in team
Right.
defense, right?
Okay.
The Pistons,
Hmm.
including these 2 games, are
Okay.
top 5 in fourth quarter defense.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
This is a reason why we are in all these games. This is a
Yeah,
reason
it
why we're in these
is.
games, even in Jaden Ivey's absence. Now, to be fair, Ivey was a big part. That's the thing, too. He was defending the best he's ever defended.
Yeah.
So there's a lot here to unpack of how are they going to continue to respond, right? And so, I mean, we've now seen 2 games where JB has tried different, kind of starting lineups. That he's inserted a different fifth starter. And I like what JB has done. To me, I always figured there are going to be 3 options for JB. The first one he did was going with someone completely random out of the rotation, like Wendell Moore Jr., right?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
my opinion, right, it's the minute eater. It's the minutes eater approach, right?
Right.
You put a guy who, is kind of not really in the rotation, and he's there to just basically buy time until Beasley comes in, right? That way it
Exactly.
allows JB and the team to maintain the other players can maintain their same role,
Yeah.
right? And it allows JB to maintain the same substitution pattern, barring
Right.
any injuries or foul trouble, right?
Right.
And it worked. It worked for 1 game.
Yeah.
But the thing is, something like that, like and I was saying this too, like on Twitter. JB does have a good track record. He can find a way to maximize like limited
Minimal.
wings,
Yeah. Yeah.
guys that are limited either like physically or talent wise.
Right.
And what did he ask Wendell Moore to do? Just play perimeter defense
Right.
and try not to be a negative. That's what he did. He basically didn't shoot. He didn't handle the ball much, right? Just try to defend the perimeter so Cade isn't always having to like switch out, right? And he can stay. And that's what he did.
Right.
But that can only, in my opinion, get you. You could do that every now and then.
Right.
It's a very quick stopgap solution, right?
Yeah, just next game type of solution.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the question is, barring any trades or free agent signings, what is the solution? A potentially long-term solution. Well, we saw one tonight, right? You go with Ausar Thompson, and I think at some point we're going to see go with Ron Holland.
Yeah.
So I think real quick, let's discuss the pros and cons of either of those routes. Now, to be clear, this is not a competition of who's better, Ron Holland or Ausar Thompson. It's what is actually most beneficial
for the starting lineup.
For the starting lineup and really the entire rotation. Right. See, okay. What do you're not going to be able to replicate Ivey, right? Hell, even if you combined Ron Holland and Ausar Thompson,
you're not
really replicating what Ivey does.
Right.
The best you can do is either you replicate certain aspects, or you try to
introduce.
Exactly. You introduce some other elite element.
Yes.
Right. Now, to be fair, I was talking about this with our followers, on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Right.
Yeah.
The main thing, and even tonight, actually, especially tonight, even though it was a blowout, right? Even when Ivey was here, right, we were saying already we lacked ball handlers, we lacked playmakers, right? But specifically, other than Cade, Ivey was the only one who could consistently get dribble penetration and create paint touches. Right. Those paint touches are what lead to the driving kicks that lead to open threes.
Right.
In my opinion, we don't have anyone else who does that. Right? Like Tobias can create a paint touch, but it's through his mid-range pull-up game.
Right.
That's different, right? He's not really a
I was like visualizing that in my head before you even said it. Like,
yeah, right. I know some fans toyed around the idea of like, how about trying Sasser? I mean, that's not viable on defense, right? And frankly, he's like, he's like a shitty version of like what Ivey does. Realistically, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. It's like the knockoff brand of Ivey. That's not gonna help us.
He's Timu Ivey.
Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah. So I mean, if we go the Ron Holland route, see, because there is a difference between Ron Holland, or there are levels of differences between going with either Ron Holland or Ausar. If you go with Ron, he slots in right at Ivey's position. He slots in starting 2-guard spot. Now, no, nobody's going to honor his 3-point shot. So he has to be ready to let it fly. And to his credit, he has lately. And it's looking good. It's looking better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and he's not hesitating. So
Thank God.
Right? But he is an amazing. What was one of the main reasons he was drafted? An elite slasher, right? Elite off the dribble. He can give you that aspect. He can give you that aspect of Ivey, right? And what did we say also before? He's arguably the team's best point of attack defender already. Point of attack. That is different. Think about how much like defensive pressure that alleviates from Cade. Which is why I kind of was leaning towards Ron at some point, but I want to see all these different combinations. Right. Yeah. Thoughts?
I like the idea of him starting right now. It would put him directly to the fire, and it would make him have to. I mean, or it would he would develop faster. You know what I mean? He would have to. But of course, I love Ausar. You know what I mean? Because he's more of a. I trust him more against the better players right now. Like Ron can muck it up with them, but if somebody just said Ron Ausar, versus LeBron or like KD or
Oh
something
yeah,
like that, I'm gonna pick Ausar. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Not saying that he's better or you know what I mean that he can stop them better than Ron, but just off the top of my head, I'm going with Ausar. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's some things that Ausar still isn't. It's like they do different things,
They
but
do. That's the thing. Yeah,
and they form like Voltron at the end of it though, because it's
yeah.
like he's doing this, bam, put it together. This is what you have from those two. So, and it's still not nothing like Ivy does, but like you said, they're bringing something else elite to the table, and that's actually defense. You know what I mean? Like his
Yeah,
defense
yeah.
is getting out in the open floor, getting out in transition, mucking it up and just making big plays, like making plays where the momentum could shift. It's just like, yeah, no, still we down. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I think that I think we're in a good spot right now. Like, yes, I
So,
agree with you. Like we talked earlier, people don't know, but you spoke about us needing just secure guard depth, and we'll
oh
get
yeah.
into that when you're ready. But um, with those two right now, I'm fine. You know what I mean? But
So
we can't sustain another we can't sustain another loss. Like if one of those two go down, then we're in trouble. You know what I mean? So we need to make sure we have enough. And then like we also mentioned, like we talk about Sasser off and on a lot. And it's just like if he's not being a spark plug off the bench, then what is he doing? You know what I
that's
mean?
all
So
he's doing.
yeah, that's all he's doing.
Like
It's
it,
like
and I
yeah.
mean, I don't want to completely like discredit him, but
No, no.
that's all he'll bring realistically. I mean, we saw it, right? He's not a true point guard. Frankly, I
Right.
think he kind of gets scared when he does like, pound the rock, more than like
Yeah.
two or three dribbles, And again, he doesn't have the size, the requisite size to attack, so
That's
it's
what I was gonna say.
it's a pull-up game, right? He tries to
Yeah.
get you with quickness and like pulling up. Um Now for Asar, so I'm with you, but it's a difference. See, if you insert Asar right now, to me, Asar is only a power forward. Okay.
Hmm.
So now, no, like today, if you really look at it, right now,
You're right.
THJ has to go
You're right.
back to the two. Tobias goes
Mhm.
back to the three.
Right.
It worked, but
Right.
and I'm not trying to say I'm against this, but to me, there are significant differences now, right? Because Tobias's advantage, especially at this point in his career, his age
Yeah.
and everything like that, his
Yeah.
athleticism, right? As a three, he's now primarily spending a majority of his time on the perimeter,
Yeah.
right? All those backdoor looks, all those cross cuts, right, that he can generate when he is in the mid post as a four,
Yeah.
those don't happen now,
Right.
right?
I noticed that too.
We made a lot of threes. Well, not a lot. We made a good number of threes tonight, but they were not open. Like,
Right.
frankly, that was Beasley like pulling shit out of his ass.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I mean, they got a couple. When they started like double teaming Cade and everything like that, right? But what I'm saying is, you're kind of losing that element of playmaking, of shot creation, him creating for others, when he's now relegated to the three. I'll not say relegated, but moved to the three.
Right.
Also for THJ, you're now putting him in the action more as a two defensively. But what do we say? We don't want that. We don't
Right.
want we want him away
Oh,
from the ball as
yes.
possible.
Far
And
away.
fortunately, JB learned from the early season mistake, right? He is not playing Malik Beasley and THJ together, right?
Yeah.
Other than like the end of quarter and we have the shot, right? Like we have
Yeah.
possession, right? Okay, put all the shooters in.
Right.
Um, so that's the thing. It actually does change both the offensive and the defensive responsibilities for the other guys. I'm not trying to say that's like Ausar is bad, but it is a change. And
Right.
the types of looks that the team can generate change, which is why like there's pros and cons to going with either guy in the starting lineup, but it doesn't seem like either is like this is it. This is the lineup night in, night out, right?
Right.
Like you said, there's inevitably going to be, I mean, no lineup is perfect, but it's like, man, there will be times where I think it's more advantageous to go with Ron. There are other times, like you said,
Yeah.
against maybe like bigger shot creators like LeBron or something like that.
Right.
You want to go with Ausar, that might just have to be what they do, right?
Yeah.
It could very well just be matchup dependent, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Ideally, but it's not going to happen this year. If either of those guys were like, no, like ideally, if either of those guys were like comfortably league average shooters, you
Right.
know, probably get away with it. But I don't think, especially with Duren in the lineup, and we'll get to him, like, I think having three guys that defenses don't really honor,
Yeah.
as
Yeah. It's not.
shooters, it's not going to work. Like, not long term. Like, again, you could maybe for like one game, you know.
Yeah.
So those are the things, and I'm really interested to see. And if they end up going with just, hey, we're going night in, night out with the same lineup, that's cool. That's cool. It'll be a little trial by fire, like you said, expediting development.
Yeah.
But it goes to show how much development each of those guys have to do, but also how far Ivey has come along in his development.
Right.
Now you're trying to figure out different ways to kind of compensate for his absence. So
I agree. I just want to say also in them having to expedite it. Shout out to Fred Vincent, because Ivy was shooting what last year from three, and he's shooting 40. He's shooting 40 now. Good Lord.
he shot 33.6.
So if we're expediting,
33 as a rookie, 33.6 is in the second year.
That means by March, Ausar and Ron Ausar and Ron Holland should be shooting 37% by March.
Yeah.
I'm just having fun with it, but yeah. I agree with what you said though. Like, it's just gonna have to be matchup dependent. Like, I think about the different teams, and like for instance, Kawhi Leonard came back tonight. Who's guarding? Who you trust to guard Kawhi? You know what I mean? Like, because it's not THJ, it's not Beasley. I don't think so. Holland or Ausar. You know what I mean?
Load management will guard Kawhi.
Yeah, but like I just love what I've seen from those two in particular too. In the meantime, especially tonight, like Thompson with 6 steals, like, yeah,
dude. That's what I'm saying. One, because I'm bullish. I'm going to speak on your behalf. We are bullish because I want all the people, and I respect these people, like basketball minds, telling me it's never going to work between Ron and Ausar. I so badly want them to
want it to work. Yes, it's gonna work. It's gonna work.
No, I am telling you, dude. Ron's a rookie, so naturally, yes, they are 1 year behind Amen and Tari Eason. But I'm telling you, like I tweeted out tonight, Detroit has their own version of the Terror Twins. Okay.
Yeah.
Ron and Ausar. No.
Yeah.
And frankly, they are collectively way better passers and ball handlers, right? Than Amen and
especially Ausar. Ausar is way better than Tom. He's better than his twin. You know what I mean? Like, he's, to me.
People don't want to hear
that. I mean, well, that's just the truth.
Oh, I know.
Like, we seen it last year before, like, things start happening with the roster and certain people were starting and then benched, and we seen it. We saw it. So what more do they want? You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's because Ausar was out of the public eye for so long, right?
Yeah.
Rehabbing.
And in Detroit.
Kind of forget. Exactly.
Yeah.
But no.
Everybody calls us a poverty franchise and all of that.
Which is why, right? Like, there is no discussion when we're talking about now. There is no discussion about, empty stats, right? You don't go on a West Coast road trip, right, and beat the Lakers, Phoenix, the Suns, the Kings, and you don't take the Nuggets all the way into the fourth quarter, shorthanded, like tonight, back end of a back-to-back, right? Belt to ass,
Yeah.
on Minnesota, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
We
spanked the
only
shit.
lost one quarter, and it was by 1 point, and that was the
Yeah.
fourth quarter,
So that's what
24
I'm
to
saying.
23, if I'm
Like,
not mistaken. So, yeah,
fine. Yeah, 17 and 18. Yeah, you're right. It's not a winning record, but I mean, like, dude, you know, let's be real.
it's 2 games from a winning record. Like,
Oh no, but
forget the haters.
what I'm saying is like, dude, um, if you still want to believe, or if you still want to keep saying that the Pistons are a bad team, or this is all fake or whatever, small sample size, cool, cool. Just keep that same energy. Keep that same
Yeah, keep
energy
that
at the
same
end of the season.
energy,
You know what I'm saying?
especially next season when we make
Man,
that leap that all the other teams that have
that's the
been
thing.
young have made. Yeah, because
That's
they
the
all
thing.
have made it.
Perhaps it's semantics, but for example, Cade, and we'll get to Cade. Well, let's get to Cade right now,
Let's
right?
go.
Okay. After tonight, right? I don't know. Was this a career high? Well, no, it was not a career high, but 40 points, right?
Yeah,
It's a nice time to be recording. 40 points, 15 of 29 from the field. Cade's not aggressive enough. Dude shot the ball 29 times.
yeah,
Okay. 15 of 29 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. 6 boards, 9 assists. And yes, the turnovers have gone down significantly in this
yeah,
stretch. Right. So for the season, dude, that is now putting him at 24 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 9.5 assists, 45% from the field, 38 from 3.
yeah,
Okay, obviously all-star, duh,
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I'm just going to put this out real quick, right? Because this doesn't need to be like a super cliffhanger, right? Everyone's like, dude, Cade has taken the leap. No, I disagree. He's taken a leap. He's got
Yeah,
a
yeah.
significant another gear,
Leap,
another
yeah.
level, another leap, yes, in him. Like,
I think he has 2 more, 3 more.
I think there's just one definitive where it's like,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
you're right. No, there are
Like,
multiple,
I'm
but I
here.
think like
And yeah.
he's like just right knocking on the door of like entering like I could dominate night in, night out like Luka.
Yeah.
Because what's crazy is like he's only now figuring out like maybe it's because he's developed, right? His body's developed, strength and everything like
Yeah.
that. And his overall skill, but you could see it like game to game now, month to month, like his finishing around the rim.
Yeah. It's been monstrous.
Exactly. Think about if he's now doing that from the start of the season all the way through. Like these numbers will be even more astronomical.
Yeah.
So with Cadence Cunningham,
Cadence Cunningham. Cadet
I mean,
Cunningham. It used to be Cadet. Now it's Cadence.
even if
Cadence
he's
Cunningham.
not, right? Like it's like you're on Dragon Ball Z, right? Frieza's like different stages. He's not perfect. He's not, or Cell, if you like Cell better, or Frieza.
Yeah.
He's not at a perfect stage yet.
Either.
He's not at his perfect stage yet. He's not at the perfect stage, right? Cade, that
Okay.
is, right? But despite wherever he is, right? Like, is he a top 10 point guard in the league?
Yeah.
Is he a top 8?
Yeah.
Is he a top 6?
Yeah.
I think he is too. And I'll stop there. Right?
Yeah.
Because obviously there are people.
I mean,
depending,
I would almost arguably say he's top 5 because who's above him?
Luka. I'm just gonna go with what the public would probably say, right?
We talking
Luka,
about just point guard, being a point guard, doing point guard things, just strictly point guard things.
Yeah.
Okay, not
Luka,
stats and all of that.
Luka, SGA.
SGA.
Sorry if you think I'm biased. I'm still gonna put Steph ahead of him.
No, Steph. Are you throwing LeBron in there?
Is he a point guard? No. Let's. I still call him a small forward, which is probably wrong, but
Yeah. I mean,
I
we'll flirt with him after that list. So, Luka, SGA, Steph, keep going. It's not De'Aaron Fox.
So not De'Aaron Fox. Okay.
It's not. Who else is out here? Point guard. You already said SGA. Jalen Brunson.
You put Jalen Brunson ahead of Cade?
Um, that's a good discussion.
It's a good
Actually,
discussion. But
that's a
that's what
very
I'm saying.
good discussion because
Okay,
Jalen Brunson can score with the best of them, but can he facilitate his team night in and night out? Is that a matter of what pieces are around him and what they're capable of? Or is that just that's who Jalen Brunson is because of size, because of whatever? You know what I mean? Like, so that's an actual real question.
see, yeah. I mean, if we
That's a
go
good
guard
debate.
by guard, like, okay, is Cade better than Trae Young?
I would say I would say yes because
Okay.
Cade
Is he better
Cade
than
can
LaMelo?
defend. Cade can defend. He can board with the bigs.
Yes.
He
Too many games
doesn't.
where Trae has no boards, man.
Yeah, and it's not like I need to see Cade shoot 30 footers like he's Steph Curry. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to see that. I need to see you be who you are. Not saying that Trey is trying to imitate Steph or anything, but that Cade is just a more controlled version of like a Luca or a LeBron. Like he's like those two. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
he's
So you
like
said,
the median between Luca and LeBron instead of because Luca can go off the hinges sometimes because he just knows, oh, I'm talented, I can do this and that. LeBron is controlled and has a matter of, oh, I can actually control the hell out of this game and make you lose this game, no matter who
yeah,
you got on your team. And Cade is like, right now, he's the middle. You know what I mean? I would like him to lean
fair.
like this far, LeBron, and then have the rest, you know, Luca, like maybe 35, 40% Luca and 60
Yeah.
LeBron. But
Oh,
it's
okay.
already damn near there. You know what
Is
I
he better
mean?
than Ja?
Is he better than Ja? I mean, yeah,
He's
yeah,
better than Ja. Okay, okay. No, that's fine. Um, is he better than LaMelo?
yeah,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. I know
yeah,
LaMelo fans like he has a big stan club, but no.
yeah. He
I guess
does.
overall, what my point is that you only listed 3 that you feel definitively are better than him. I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah,
Like, I
he's top
don't really.
five.
That's what I'm saying. I don't really. I mean, like, I don't care if you say he's 5, 6, or 7. The fact is I think there is like, you know,
Yeah,
it's clear that he's kind of not cemented himself, but he's really ascended to that point where you can't say all these guys are definitively better than him. So
right. And for the hell of it, just to piss people off, I'll throw Chris Paul in there at 4,
that's fine.
or at 5. I'll put Kate at 4 and I'll put Chris Paul at 5 because
Chris
Chris
Paul's
Paul
not
is a point. He's a
not the
point
best.
guard.
He is not the fifth. There, no, no,
I
no.
mean, just for fun, just because he knows how to control a game, he can go 10, 12 assists, 0 turnovers, a lot if he chose to. He elevates the team, the teammates, their floor. He helps them tap into things like a part of the reason we have the SGA we have is because of Chris Paul. You know what I mean? Like the education that Chris Paul can impart to you. Like, it's certain things about him that make him a point guard's point guard, a coach's point guard, like a coach's damn near coach,
Yeah.
assistant coach. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason I put him there. It's not just to piss people off. It's kind of to give him some acknowledgement and also throw Cade in that conversation because that's you know how we're saying the leaps. That's one of them. Like if Cade gets that aspect of him, where it's like no matter who's on your team, he elevates them. Like, bro, we're looking at what Eastern Conference Finals a lot with Cade Cunningham.
Okay, let's just save this for example, which is why I feel like it's kind of getting overshadowed,
Yeah,
especially amongst non-Pistons fans, because you're only looking at the box score and most of the time
right,
highlights. And
right.
hey, I like the Pistons like media account; they're hilarious, right?
Yeah,
But I get it. You post offensive highlights because those are more eye-popping.
right.
But I mean, for example, tonight, right? Was Ausar instrumental uh, in this defensive performance? Absolutely.
Yes.
Was arguably like the quarterback of the defense. Yes, because it's not Duren, and I'm going to get to that. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But like, if you really watch it though, Ausar. Okay, this is where again, let's give JB his props. Let's give him his flowers. Right. They're not switching everything anymore.
Right.
Which I like.
Thank God.
But even if they do, they're only switching right at the action. Great. Yeah. Good. But what did he do? What we recommended early in the season when we started 0-4, right? If you're rather than switch everything, why don't you just cross match ahead of time? So who did he actually have, right? Like, I love it. He actually would put Ausar on Randall, right? Knowing that the Timberwolves like to swing the ball to Gobert at the high post, and then they try to set up Randall somewhere on the elbow, right? So how did he get like probably 3 out of his steals? He just sat on the pass, right? The ball never got to Randall, right? I understand Anthony Edwards went off for 51. Okay.
He had to.
Still, who is taking on the point of attack defensive assignment game in, game out lately, especially now with Ivey out? It's been Cade.
Ron is okay, yeah.
I mean, when Ron comes in, but no, from the get-go, he is. So he's not only the team's leading scorer and the leading assist man, you know, one of the
and one of the top rebounders, arguably, game in, game out.
He is literally rising to the challenge and defending the team's other best player.
Right.
You know, now of course you're like, hey, right, what does it matter? Like if they're losing? Well, I think it does matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, as he's developing and over the course of a season, these things, right, culminates and stuff, right? So, I think, you know, again, going back, it's not all about size. Like you can applaud guys like Jalen Brunson for defending within their physical limitations, but at the end of the day, like you can't do certain things. And Cade, I think, is starting not only to defend at a higher level than some of those guys, right? But again, things he can do that others can't. I mean, how many? Okay, I saw the Detroit Pistons like Twitter account. Okay, they do post cool blocks, and how many times has it been Cade with like game-winning blocks or game-saving blocks? Right? You know,
right?
So no, I mean, I think it's more than just like a fun story. You know,
it is. He's man. So he's probably, arguably, based on our list, he's flirting with top 3.
I mean, like, he could definitely get there very soon. Like I said, I mean, like, you know, as the old vanguard, and I mean, if I remove my Warriors homerism, I mean, I still do believe Steph is up there with like and SGA. But I mean, like, as you know, as he slows down and younger guys are ascending, like I think he's
going down.
Well, that's a conversation for another day and another pod.
All right.
Point is I think a lot of guys that we assumed, or at least last year, you just look at last year, right? Like, what have you done for me lately? We assumed guys like LaMelo or Tyrese Halliburton, right, would remain ahead of him. And I don't think that's the case anymore, you know? I think he could be leapfrogging them, is what I'm saying. And I mean, dude, when your team has a top, I'm not saying like you have a top 10 player, you're guaranteed a championship, but more often than not, if you have a top 10 player in the league, you can win a championship, right? And I mean, I think, to me, that is where Cade Cunningham's trajectory is going, you know?
Okay. Let me not turn this into a hour and a half long episode.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready.
But I guess
we could jump into Duren now.
we'll do like some trade proposals later in a separate one. But I guess when I go to Duren, this question would have been more relevant if, like, before Ivey went down with injury.
Yeah.
Because the question I wanted to pose to you is, like, you have 3 options. And you can only pick one of these 3 options.
Okay.
You're Trajan Landon, or you're Trajan Landon's like lead assistant, and he was asking for your advice or your input, right?
Okay.
1, we extend Ivey only. 2,
Okay.
option 2, we extend Duren only. Or option 3, we extend neither, and we let both of them just hit restricted free agency. So restricted free agency, you have the right to match.
Right. That's why it just actually
right.
calmed
You already
down.
know now that Cade is on his $200 million deal. Actually, it's more than 200, right? It's like, what, 220 or something like that?
Yeah.
Basically, the reason why I ask is, well, go ahead and answer. See, it would have been easier to answer
before Ivey
went down, because right now, like, that one's probably like they're not going to extend him.
So
I
I'm
would
gonna act like he's not hurt, and I would extend Ivey and let Duren go to restriction, because the league is not. Unless he takes 2 more leaps, 2 more jumps, or he just stays where he's been seeming like he's at now, but maybe a little bit higher, maybe another 25-50% of that, then it would have some consideration. But at the moment right now, I extend Ivey, I let Duren go to restricted and just match. I wouldn't want to let him walk, because as much as the league isn't premium on big men, unless you have a Jokic, Giannis, or Embiid, you know what I mean? Like, they're the ones. Go ahead.
Let's say that you extend Ivey maybe a little less than the max deal. So he's still making somewhere like 35 million, 40 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's your first deal after a rookie contract. Why should you get max?
Well, no, I mean, like, Cade has a max, right? He has a max.
He's Cade. He's Cade.
Exactly.
Though.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
Now, are you also comfortable giving Duren 30 million a year?
No.
But if he gets that elsewhere, then you're just not going to match, and now you let him walk for free, or walk for nothing, I should say. See, I guess the point of this conversation,
I need to see more before I commit 30 plus. He's in the 20s. I'll give him something in the 20s, but 30, it's a little tough.
You would give him 20 million a year?
Pardon?
You'd give him 20 million a year? You'd give him basically Isaiah Hartenstein's contract?
Yeah. Or somewhere maybe a little less. Yeah.
Yeah, see, and I guess the whole purpose
just
of, like, this little thought exercise is, that's the thing, right? Like, part of it is recency bias, but the fact that it's hard to make an argument that, like, no, you know, like with Cade, it was like, oh, it's a no-brainer, right? He's getting his rookie extension.
Yeah.
Right. Cade or Ivey, maybe because we feel really good about where he left, right?
Yeah.
But at least those answers, like, he was starting to answer those questions.
All of them.
Right. Duren, like, again, I feel like we shit on this on JD a lot on this pod, but, like, look at the result. Every time we record, maybe it's bad timing, but look at when every time we record, like, he does, like, dumb things. Let's just put it out there. Like I understand he's only 21 or 22.
Yeah.
You know, but he's been in the league for 3 years.
Yep.
You know, like, let's just put a pause on the stats, right? Like, his lack of situational awareness, right? Like, game situation, clock management, right? Foul situations. It's alarming. Like, there's a big freaking jumbotron, right? At the LCA, it tells you all those numbers.
Yeah. It's huge.
I mean, to be fair, you can say, hey, right, like, coaches should be telling you these things too, but still, like, come on, man.
You should have self-awareness. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, did you really think, like, taking an 18-foot hook shot with 18 seconds left on the shot clock was a good idea? When we're in the bonus, man. You know? Did you think intentionally fouling a guy, which he did, you were not making a play on the ball, right? When the other team is in the penalty, did you think that was a good idea? You know, like, I'm not going to put like all the bad losses because it's not on him, but it's like teams want to find that franchise center. They want to find, ideally, right? If you're not a Jokic, right? Like a quarterback of the defense.
Right. Yeah.
He just does not seem like he's that guy. Now, maybe I've been hard on him. I don't want to say, like, when I say he does dumb things, I'm not
You're
saying
not being hard on him.
Yeah, but like, you know, whether you want to phrase it as like basketball IQ, like, you know, he's not exhibiting it, which really sucks too. Because in his second year, I felt like there were a lot of significant improvements he was making.
Yeah.
You know, with his screening, you know, with his DHOs and everything like that. Right. But since then, I don't know. Like,
it's like you can't put a finger on what he is yet.
Yeah. And again, two things can be true. Like, so these are my two things that I think are true. Isaiah Stewart is not a starting caliber center. I don't believe he is. Right. But he is a game-changing, high-end backup center.
Right.
He is. Like, he can shift momentum. Because if you put him in a bigger responsibility, you know, like you kind of get a little bit diminishing returns. You know, like or the level with which he plays, it's probably not sustainable for like 30 plus minutes a game, night in, night out.
Yeah.
But man, for that 20 minutes he gives you in those 5-6 minute spurts, it's excellent.
Yeah.
And the contrast right now, both with regards to intensity and just like basketball IQ, it's like night and day between the two. You know?
Yeah. And I would damn near say I'm not paying him more than I'm paying Isaiah Stewart. I let them make the same.
Yeah. Which is why I keep yelling on social media, or anyone who was willing to listen to me, like, stop putting Isaiah Stewart in the trade machine as if he's salary filler.
Exactly.
It's extremely dumb. Okay.
It is.
Stop assuming that Travis Landon is just going to give him away. Like, we're trying. No. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I think moving forward, I don't know. I'm not trying to say, like, I mean, you have 35 games. So what was that, 47? We got 47 to go, right? We need to see more from Jalen Duren, because if not, it doesn't necessarily have to be at this trade deadline.
Yeah.
Perhaps in the off season, right? There are still teams that are thirsty for athletic bigs, you know, and he does have value. It's just like, right, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we need to go the route of, you know what, he's not really our franchise center, then yes, right? You have to look to maximize his trade value while we still have it.
Right.
But yeah, it's which is kind of crazy, despite his kind of slip ups here and there. Again, what do we say, right? Obviously top 15 overall defense, but you know, one of the best fourth quarter defenses in the league.
That's amazing. Crazy.
Yeah.
What was I going to add to that? We're going at least 27-20 over these last 47. I'm just throwing it out there now. That's 44 wins, right?
Dude. Which again, we encourage you to go back and watch our season preview, schedule preview episode. We predicted, based on our calculations, we would win somewhere, or they were capable of winning somewhere between 41 and 50 games. Maybe 42.
I mean, 27-20 is 44, so we win 6 more. Like, that would be amazing, man. Like, and if we had a decent splash in the trade market that didn't affect our overall product, like, it actually added to it and it made it flow even better, we can get to 50. Now, people will think it's fluky because this is the first time they're seeing it in it's 2025. They haven't seen it since like 08, 09. Pistons win 50 games. So yeah, it's like what like I'm about to say 8-year-olds. No, it's like 16-year-olds out here that haven't seen the Pistons go 50 games. You know what I mean? So,
I
the
mean,
Pistons, you know what I mean? And it's just like,
we don't
yeah,
really
no.
believe they're going to win 50 games. We're not
I
predicting
mean,
that, you know.
I can
But
see 40 for sure. Right now, I can see 40.
in our next episode, we'll kind of discuss some trade ideas, some
Yes.
what we believe are realistic trade ideas and trade ideas that make sense for this team. All I'll say, though, as we kind of close out this episode, is that if this team has shown us anything through 35 games, is I think they've shown us reasons to believe that we should be buyers at the
Yeah.
deadline, not sellers,
Yeah.
right? This whole idea of let's just absorb other teams' salary dumps for
Right.
more draft capital. No.
Nah. See, but we need to make a move that's long term. You know what I mean? Like that's at least 3 years. You know what I mean? Like I know Jimmy Butler's out there and stuff like that.
No, I mean,
But Brandon Ingram, I mean, if he fits, and we just need at least a 3. I would damn near say a 4-year plan. We need stability. We need continuity, most importantly.
Yeah.
And after what I've seen from this team the last few games, like I don't want to keep letting this roster keep rotating the way that it has over the last 3 years. You know what I mean? Like I like what we have. We make the move, we make it. We free up whatever we free up for whatever, whether that's a waiver wire signing, whether that's Bobby Clinton coming back into the lineup, or you know what I
we'll
mean?
get
Like,
into that,
yeah. So it's just like we have options already going forward, but to cement what and where we can be, you know what I mean? Because we
yeah.
make that move, it fits. If we had to start the season over, what does our record look like? You know what I mean? Are we 25 and you know what I mean? Like in 10, you know what I mean? So it's just who makes that difference? That's the real question. Who makes that difference? That doesn't take away from Cade. That doesn't take away from the progression of Holland, Thompson. It doesn't prevent Duren from becoming what he's going to be, unless he's the person that's moved, unless he's a sacrificial lamb. Keep Isaiah Stewart and definitely keep Malik Beasley all day. You know what I mean? I actually want to keep Tobias too, because like if we don't have Tobias right now with Cade out, we are hurting. We will be hurting.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's the same thing. Yes, I believe when I say we should be buyers, I'm with you. It's not, but it's something that doesn't necessarily improve them immediately. Like, if it pays dividends next season or long term, I'm okay with that too. That's not to say like I want just injured players, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what I think is this team, they've kicked the can down the road for like almost a decade now, right? Like, this whole like Brooklyn, they're the type of team where like, you know what, we will take on your bad deals as long as you give us some first round picks. I'm not saying like Brooklyn and the Pistons. I'm just saying in general, right? That's where they're at, right?
That's Brooklyn. They got like 30 picks.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because they're hoping that one of those 30 picks will eventually become a superstar. We're there. If you don't feel comfortable saying Cade is a superstar yet, that's fine. I don't really care what adjective you want to use, but he's on that trajectory. I think we can at least somewhat agree on that. Like other fans, like you can now see, okay, he is on that path. Okay. Now is the time to be bringing in those guys to help him get there. And in turn, as you said, cadence, the trickling effect, right? His superstardom is now going to bleed into the rest of the roster.
Exactly.
But this whole thing, like, I guess I'm just sick of hearing it now. Like, oh yeah, the Pistons have cap space, so let's help you facilitate a trade. So we're gonna take the guy that nobody, like other 29 teams don't want. No, what? Fuck you. No, say.
He said no, no. Um,
So yeah, that's a little
I
preview for
mean,
next one. Yeah, I think
yeah,
this is an optimistic thing, despite Jaden Ivey's absence. This is. I mean, I think how can you not say this is like the best time to be a Pistons fan right now? I mean, like I
yeah,
don't.
it is, and despite Ivy being hurt, it gives our team the opportunity to continue to develop in other ways. Like, because I've always looked at, like, for instance, your Warriors. Whenever KD went down, whenever Steph went down,
Oh my god,
it made the rest of the team. That's the main times. It made
it's
the
fucking
rest of the
healthy up,
team
man.
like step up. It made the rest of the team step up. You know what I mean? And understand this is how we go about not having this individual. You know what I mean? So now we have it where, okay, Ivy's gone. So we need you to start doing this. We need you to do that. We need you to do that because I'm thinking of 5 players, and we need you two to do what you do. So it's like it's now or never. It's like this year you're gonna do it now, or you know what I mean, or are we going to have to go look for like a different type of piece to fulfill that? You know what I mean? In his absence, and I think we have what we need to sustain that, but in order to still make the next jump, like to go from play-in team to 6 seed, 5 seed, yeah, we probably do still need a deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep,
Mhm.
totally agree. And
Yes, sir.
that we will address on the next episode of
On the
East v
next,
West.
so chill to the next episode.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Will Cade Cunningham drop 50 points, 10 boards, and 12 assists in his next game?
Dude,
Find out on the next episode.
that's got to be like the great, in my opinion, that's one of the coolest feelings. It's like when that other player, the star player on the other team goes off, but it
Yeah,
doesn't make a difference.
yeah,
You know, like I
yeah,
remember seeing it live. I went to go watch the Warriors at Staples Center, when they played the Lakers,
yeah,
and I think Kobe went for like 44 points,
yeah.
but they lost by 40. That again, it was like peak Warriors,
Oh,
right? And it's like I remember most space was saying it. It's like it's crazy. Like we could see he's going off, but it's not making a dent. Like it's not making one difference. You know what I'm
right.
saying? That's how
Yeah.
it felt to me watching Anthony Edwards. I'm like, yeah,
That's you're a villain, bro.
yeah, dude. You know.
You're a
So
villain. But
all right,
yeah, we'll get into more for sure because we got plenty more. We just trying to keep it kind of condensed. So y'all look out for the next episode. Until next time, make sure y'all follow us, like, subscribe, please. I'm like that's your boy. Subscribe, Mike and Khan. That's
that's right.
don't forget the motto. But yeah, just make sure y'all like and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on our YouTubes. I mean our Twitters. I'm sorry, and at EMW_pod on Twitter as well. Make sure you follow that account and
Yes, sir.
just keep up with us, man. Like we're going forward, we'll be doing, of course, the Pistons. Uh, when the women's game gets going, we'll be covering the Valkyries. So and just a lot of other stuff around it. You know what I mean? Whatever time permits. But that's the main go-tos. And yeah, so thank y'all for listening. Happy New Year. And yeah, we appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.